Hello everyone, it's Angie here at Beads and Plenty More. Today I thought I'd show you this bracelet that's a little more masculine, meant more for guys, but could also be used as a woman's bracelet. And it's got a couple little dragons in it just to set off the top of it. So I'm using the 3mm leather on the side, and I've got the Brazilian wax cord securing all my beads in. So let's talk a little bit about size before we get into this too far. So as I said, I was targeting this more for a guy's bracelet. So when I try this on our true sizer, it's about an 8-inch bracelet. An average guy's wrist is between 7.5, but you don't want to make it so tight that they can't wear it. So this would be a looser bracelet on most guys. And when I actually stretch this out, it's actually going to be 8.5 inches. So that's the difference between a true size versus, let's get the tape measure going the right way, versus the measured length. So as you can see, that's 8.5 when it's stretched out, but it wears more as an 8-inch bracelet when it's actually on someone's wrist. So if I just do this up, we can talk about breaking out different elements of the bracelet and how to work out sizing. So when I take the dragon part of this, it measures out at about 1.5 inches. And the clasp part of it measures out at about 1 inch. So then I start working my sides out based on what I need for an actual length. And you could easily take out one of these beads, or if you're working with different size beads, you might need less or you might need more. Any bead that's about 6 to 8mm will work really well in this design. One thing you do have to keep in mind is that you're putting 2 strands of the Brazilian wax cord in. So you need holes that are big enough to fit the 2 strands. So as you can see, I've picked up some beads that have fairly large holes, including the dragons. The one bead that doesn't have a large hole is my little semi-precious bead. And I can show you on this one. I was only able to get 1 cord through, so I ran the other strand of Brazilian wax cord just in behind it. So I cheated it a little bit. And then you're going to need cord ends that will fit the 3mm leather. This one actually will fit a 4mm leather, but it works for this project. A clasp, and you can size your bracelet a little bit with the clasp as well, because if you go with a smaller clasp, you can size it down a little bit. And a ring to attach the clasp on. One thing I will often do is take my clasp and actually attach it to the ends, so that when I'm measuring and trying to figure out what size I've got going, I've got that all attached together and I can see how long it is. So I'm just using a jump ring to attach it on. And that's your end on. And then I did a bit of work before the video started here because I needed to glue my end in. So what I did is I've got these 2 strands of Brazilian wax cord, and they're about well, if you're doing a complete bracelet, you should have them about 1 meter long each. And I tied them into the end of the leather here. And then I used the E6000 glue to actually glue the end on to my leather. So I've got 2 leather pieces here. My finished length is about 8.5 inches, but I've cut these longer. And the reason I've cut them longer is because when I'm working and I'm getting towards the end of my bracelet, I don't want my knots to slip off. So I've given myself a little bit of spare for that reason. So then I'm going to take it and I'm going to borrow just a clipboard here to clip it in so that we can talk about knots. So I'll just grab a bead here. If I just take and put a bead onto my cord, so it's going over both of the Brazilian cords here. Now I've cut these shorter, of course, because I want to show you stuff and I don't want to have a whole bunch of knots happening while I'm trying to show you. So I'm not actually going to get to the end of the bracelet with these cords, but I can show you how to do the knot. So I've got my bead on and I want to tie a knot on each side. So I'm going to divide my 2 cords out and we're going to tie 1/2 hitch knots. So the first part of the knot, I'm going to come over my thread or over my leather and around it and through. Now the second part of that knot is exactly the opposite. So I'm going to come under and through my loop. So that creates my first knot. And I'm going to come over on the other side and do the exact same thing. So this is going to test you a little bit spatially. It's going to come over the leather first, and then under the leather for the second part. So just pick this up and grab another bead here. We'll grab a different one. And if I just take it, add my next bead on. Now it actually won't matter which cord goes which direction. So if you happen to swap the left cord for the right cord, it won't matter. But again, you're going to just work along over first, so over the leather first, and then under the leather for the second part. So when I get to the other end, I'm just going to tie a knot around each of the leather cords, and I'm going to glue them into this other end. And that's bracelet complete. So you just keep working away until you get the length you want, and then add the other cord end on. So I hope you had a good day and enjoyed the video. Have a good day.